sports, the term overrated is thrown around very loosely, to the point where it doesn't hold much weight at all. It more means you don't like an athlete rather than him being actually overrated.
Travis, you're overrated as fuck!
When players are labeled overrated, they tend to be very polarizing. You either love them and you will defend them to no end, or you loathe everything about them. Overrated players are on the receiving end of a lot of hate, some justified and some not. But at what point do players bridge the gap from overrated to overhated? This will be one of my most polarizing videos because I'm talking about Kyler Murray, one of the most polarizing players in the NFL. While his ability on the field has been underwhelming for the expectations of a first overall pick, he has shown flashes of greatness. He's never been in trouble with the law off the field, but has been the subject of a lot of inconsequential stories on and off the field that have led to a lot of criticism. And with Kyler set to make his first start of the 2023 season, I wanted to take a look to see if Kyler is deserving of all the hate, or if he is in fact overhated. The first knock on Kyler will always be about his height. He's short, and there's nothing he can do about it, but it's the lowest hanging fruit for internet shitposters everywhere. But even at his height, Kyler is supremely gifted athletically, and he is forced to play to his strengths to compensate what he can't control. Does this mean he's a good NFL quarterback? No, it just means he has to work harder and get more creative than a 6'5" Josh Allen. If he doesn't, we will just continue to see more tip passes at the line because there are limitations for Kyler at his size in the traditional quarterback role. When you are the first overall pick, there comes with it an absurd level of expectation. Is it fair? No, not really, but it comes with the territory. Players in any sport are almost always compared to their peers in every aspect of the game. LeBron will always be compared to Jordan. Aaron Rodgers' career will always be looked at through the lens of Tom Brady's accomplishments. It's not the perfect one-to-one comparison, but again, it's just the nature of the beast. Kyler has a very suitable comparison in Baker Mayfield. Both first overall picks in consecutive drafts, both were undersized Heisman-winning quarterbacks from Oklahoma, drafted by NFL teams that YouTube comments would label poverty franchises. The similarities are starting to become eerie. And yet, Kyler Murray signed a $230 million contract, and Baker Mayfield is on his fourth team in 5 years. Even though through their first 4 seasons, Baker has a better winning percentage, more passing yards, more passing touchdowns, and most notably, a playoff win with the Browns. This is every NFL player that has signed a contract north of $200 million. Not surprising, it's all quarterbacks. And this is every player that signed that contract with a losing record. It's just Kyler. This is my biggest problem with Kyler. Now, I need to say that I am all for NFL players going out and getting the most money they can get in a contract. The NFL career is short, make your money while you can. But as a Cardinals fan, this contract is brutal. Second contracts of this size are almost always earned by the play on the field. When Kyler signed this deal, the Cardinals took a gamble on Kyler's potential from the first half of the 2021 season, where he led the Cardinals to a 7-0 record and then completely collapsed down the stretch. Betting on potential is for the NFL draft. When you start handing out massive deals to relatively unproven quarterbacks, you are handcuffing the organization and opening them to immense criticism. Here's what I mean by that. Let's say Patrick Mahomes, after signing that massive $500 million contract, played sub-500 ball for the remainder of that contract. He got the bag and then completely fell off the map. Mahomes would receive criticism, but their contract would never be questioned because they actually had the resume to back up the decision to pay them that much money. But on the flip side, when a player hasn't earned it and doesn't produce after the extension, it leaves them susceptible to even more ridicule and hate from fans and media. And this should be the main talking point when hating on Kyler. In the 2022 offseason, after Kyler signed his massive new deal, it was reported that there was a clause in the contract that received a lot of attention. The independent study clause was written into the deal because someone in the Cardinals organization really wanted to stress the fact that they were concerned about Kyler's study habits. Where could they have gotten this concern? Well, from Kyler Murray himself. In a New York Times article, Kyler was quoted saying, "I think I was blessed with the cognitive skills to just go out there and just see it before it happens. I'm not one of those guys that's going to sit there and kill myself watching film. I don't sit there for 24 hours and break down this team and that team and watch every game. In my head, I see so much." Kyler then went on to say that he felt disrespected by the clause and the reaction to it by the media. This rubbed a lot of people the wrong way for so many different reasons. First off, Kyler looked bad because this clause made it seem like Kyler wasn't properly preparing for games. And it made the Cardinals look bad because they needed to add wording to a massive contract to guarantee that Kyler did the bare minimum to prepare for games. It was really a lose-lose situation. But what made it significantly worse was how Kyler handled the story with the media. He came off as combative and offended by the clause, so much so that the Cardinals removed it due to the backlash. To me, former teammate A.Q. Shipley said it best on the Pat McAfee show.
If this is so disrespectful to put this clause in, why the fuck did you sign it?
Think of Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. What did they have in common? They were notorious for how much they prepped for each game, how much film they watched, and how much they won. It's a good model for quarterbacks to follow. And it wouldn't be crazy to attribute their wins to how they prepared for every game. But when you have a quarterback who admittedly doesn't kill himself watching film, relies on athleticism and the feel of the game, and doesn't consistently win football games, you stray away from the Tom Brady, Peyton Manning territory towards a Jamarcus Russell conversation. Now, Kyler hasn't fallen that low, but people hated Jamarcus because of his wasted talent and notorious preparation. Focus has been another heavily scrutinized point for Kyler. Video games have long been associated with escapism and can be a detriment to real-life goals and obligations. Excessively playing video games undoubtedly takes away time from your life, and when other areas in your life seem to be affected, video games will always be the first suspect. It's why your parents would take them away from you if your grades in school were low. So when Kyler signed a deal with the esports company FaZe Clan, he immediately opened himself up for criticism if his NFL grades suffered. Kyler gets clowned on a lot for his stats consistently taking a nosedive of NFL players under 27 play video games. And some prominent players it's on the sidelines during games, his pouting and disinterested body language when things aren't going his way, to not taking accountability, and a host of current and former teammates coming out and calling out his demeanor as a teammate.
Kyler Murray don't care about nobody but Kyler Murray.
There is a lot of smoke, and where there is smoke, there is fire. It's hard for me to wrap my head around a guy who has had Larry Fitzgerald and JJ Watt as teammates has seemingly learned nothing about how to be a professional. It's difficult to say whether hating on Kyler is fair in this scenario, because people are basing their hate on what they see and hear on the internet. They are not in the locker room, they are not in the quarterback room, and they are definitely not in the film study room. But people go off the information they have, and there are more than enough reasons to be critical of Kyler in terms of his leadership. To the Cardinals' credit, they are actively trying to change the narrative around Kyler. This offseason, they have highlighted a lot of Kyler's community work and his road to recovery from the ACL tear. It's definitely a different side of Kyler that we haven't seen before, and only time will tell if it's genuine, or if the Cardinals media team is just running PR for Kyler because they have $250 million invested in him. So is Kyler Murray overhated? My answer is yes and no. Yes, in the fact that he receives too much hate for the non-important things, being short, playing video games. But he doesn't nearly get enough hate for his accountability, leadership, and most importantly, in what I view an unearned contract. Those three things are why I'm not personally a Kyler Murray fan. But it's not too late for Kyler. There is one thing he can do to change the narrative, and it's not Cardinal-produced puff pieces. Win. Just win. Winning changes everything. With Kyler set to make his debut start in the 2023 season, he can go on an absolute fuck you tour to the media and all of his haters.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.
I would love to be proved wrong. I would love to see the Cardinals start winning. I would love to see Kyler Murray be our franchise quarterback. We are 1-8 right now, but I can tell the culture is changing. And if Kyler Murray isn't going to be a positive part of that, it's time to go. You could be the most ill-prepared, disliked by the media, asshole of a teammate, but if you win, nobody cares. They will just hate you about something else because this is humanity now.
I hate you. I hate you. I don't even know you, and I hate your guts. I hope all the bad things in life happen to you and nobody else but you.
Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Proud of you. If you like this video, shoot it a like, and if you want to subscribe, I'd appreciate it. I do all sorts of random sports content, like here's a video of me speedrunning an entire 9-hole golf course. Thanks, and...
Playa!